Hi, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. My name is Thomas T. Bird Canarian, the one, the only Thomas T. Bird Canarian, and I am so happy to see you all this morning. Apologies for a little confusion this morning. You may have received a notification email that we were meeting, but we were making sure that we were here on time. So, most importantly, we are talking about Email Academy, email marketing trends in 2025. Yes, it is no longer 2024, it is 2025. I am still getting used to that and trying to make sure I write that down. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get into this, shall we? So, there it is, most importantly, and featuring our amazing host, as always, Natalie Lynch, Senior Product Manager of Mailjet. Natalie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. Feeling caffeinated. That's all that matters, right?
Love that.
And down the line here, we've got Julia Ritter, the Senior Email Marketing Manager of Mailjet. Julia, how are you doing this morning?
I'm good, thank you.
Good to see you. Good to see you. And last but not least, Bea Redondo, the Director of Content Marketing over at Mailjet. How's it going, Bea? Good to see you.
Hello, I'm excited to be here. I've always been watching, on the back, and I'm very excited that you invited me over.
Good to have you with us. We're excited. We're excited. And last but not least, everybody, we're also answering some questions via our support team in the Q&A tab. But also, just a heads up, we will be answering some Q&A questions towards the end. So please, 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 in the words of James Brown, please save those questions towards the end and make sure you upvote the ones that are more pertinent to the subject. So I'm going to also, give a quick shout out to Alex and Anastasia in the back end helping us out, and also Laura and Dale also helping out as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and let our amazing presenters take over, and I will see y'all towards the Q&A.
Cool. Thank you. All right, team. Okay, first I just want to point out, please put any questions in the Q&A tab. So at the top right, you're going to see chat and Q&A. Put all questions in the Q&A so we can answer them at the end. Okay, so today on Email Academy, we are talking 2025 email trends. We've split these up into a couple categories to make it easier to just chunk out and have some fun. So the first is going to be email creation and design, and first and foremost, AI is there, as well as accessibility and sustainability. Then we have deliverability and tracking, everyone's favorite topic all the time. So how can you be proactive? How can you get more precise in tracking? And then if we have time, we're going to go over some omni-channel strategies as well. But, well, we have a lot to cover today, so we're going to keep it moving. As we said, Bea is here, our content extraordinaire. Fun fact, Bea hired me to this company, so you all can thank her for that. So we're going to start with our first question, Bea. What's going on with AI?
Yes. So before we jump into that, I just want to say, why I say content marketing person talking about email marketing trends, I am here to represent absolutely all of our experts, including Julia and Natalie, who I bugged for an entire month asking them what's coming up in 2025, what's coming up, and the entire email community that I've been talking for, a year to just bring you all of this insights. So I've also been around for like 9 years in email, so I know a little bit at this point. But yeah, just for credibility purposes, that's a little bit of how we gathered some of these. So AI. When we talk about AI, and I think Julia and Natalie, you're probably also kind of feeling the same way, because I think it's similar in content and email. We've got both challenges and kind of opportunities, because AI is completely revolutionizing how we as consumers interact with technology, and that is happening within the inbox too. So we're seeing some of these powerhouses like Apple and Gmail introducing AI into the inbox to improve. That's what they claim, improve the user experience within the email app. So we've got stuff like, we've seen it already on Gmail. Apple is now introducing that priority messaging at the top of the inbox. We've got, kind of the different tabs for sorting. And this year, we've also seen AI summaries. Well, this last year, actually, AI summaries being rolled out by Apple. That's basically a feature that summarizes the content of the email for your contact for the reader, so that they can decide based on that AI summary whether they want to click through or not, which is making it very challenging for email marketers like Julia to get someone like Julia, who's actually very, very good at email subject lines. We used to tell people just crush it with that subject line, and now that's not enough. Now we need to think through these AI overviews, AI summaries. But I will say though, it's been recently rolled back in the news and entertainment sector because it was obviously bugging, and I think we can expect a lot of that with these AI improvements. It is very hard to test them until they go live. So I think we can expect a lot of changes and things being brought up. I read recently about Gemini also summarizing emails, but doing it completely, incorrectly. So it is likely that we'll see some of these features come up and then be rolled back. For us, though, as email marketers or email senders, what this means is we'll need to make it very, very, very easy for these AI tools to get to the point and really understand what we're discussing in the email. So one clear message, just a very concise, idea. Please do not do all image emails because AI cannot read that. And some of the stuff that we're going to share for accessibility too is probably quite similar. So yeah, I don't know if you've seen any of that, Natalie or Julia, in your inboxes, because I'm over here in Europe and sometimes these things don't roll out in Europe as quickly. But yeah, that's what's been going on inside the inbox.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in my inbox yet. I've seen it on search results and stuff like that with summaries, and I've learned already not to trust them.
Thank you. That is driving us content writers crazy, but that's a different webinar that we could do.
Right.
If we move on to, I think, the next bit, though, we will see that it's not all terrible when it comes to AI. There are like good opportunities for us as email senders and email marketers. And, I think, Julia, you probably have opinions on this, I am sure. So I'll ask you to share some of those. But, basically, we've got AI as a tool also to enhance our productivity and our efficiency. So we've seen it. If you're a Mailjet user, you've seen it already. Stuff like email copy generators, email subject line generators. And, I'm a content person, okay? I am very critical of non-human copy, but I will admit it is a very good starting point when you're not, sure how to start, or you're feeling writer's block, to just use some of these tools to get you started, and then add that additional layer of, okay, I'll spend my time working on the strategy to make it much better, or just add in those human touches. But it is true, like research shows, you can see it on the screen, it boosts productivity. And it's great, especially for SMBs, one-person teams that just need to do everything. Now with an AI template creator, you don't need to have the fantastic Megan, our email developer, in your team. You should. Well, not Megan, and someone like Megan. But
you can't have Megan.
You can't have Megan. No, we will not allow that. But that's definitely, an opportunity, as is, to have something like, your database. And I'm going to be very cautious when I say this, sort of connected to ChatGPT, not necessarily your database per se, because we don't want to feed any data, any real data, but use anonymized data with ChatGPT to get ideas for segmentation, or get some of that performance metrics into ChatGPT and ask it to highlight trends or to identify things that might be going wrong. It might even be able to tell you a certain time doesn't work well with your open rates, stuff like that. So experiment. And I think it is a great enhancement. Although, Julia, what's your take on this, knowing who you are and what you do here?
The crowd and this team knows I'm not an AI adopter just yet, but slowly dipping my toe in. I've recently been I am a wordy writer. So like when I write my emails, I usually just like throw it all on the page, just get out all my thoughts and everything. It is kind of helpful to just, when you're putting copy in, to get like the crux of the copy, like what is the most important points that the AI takes from my huge novel. And then that kind of helps me narrow down what the key points are that I want to. I still obviously tweak it. I don't let it write it for me. But yeah, I think that's helpful. And I've also been using it lately, just to go off of your segmentation thing. We don't want to put the data into ChatGPT or these AI tools, but I do use it to get feedback on Excel formulas and things like that to help me use, yeah, like for Excel formulas, like at the outside when I'm working with my data externally.
It's game changing.
What's that?
You actually,
like Excel, I can
sorry.
just hop in there. I need this and this related.
Yeah.
And Excel formulas are huge when really compounding that data and taking that manual, figuring it out and remembering every Excel trick out there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a very good one. The other one that I think is actually really good that you just mentioned is, you know, if you're a wordy writer, right, you're writing your email, you're getting it out there, you ask ChatGPT to summarize the key points, you can probably assume that that's a similar summary that what the LLMs, at Apple Intelligence and Google's Gemini and stuff will see in your email. So it might be a good way to navigate this AI summary kind of new scenario where we don't really know. So that's a good one. See, you had an incredible idea and you didn't even know you were, ahead of the game. But yeah, I think, productivity is the big win. And, at Mailjet, we have like really cool features and there's, obviously free stuff like ChatGPT that you can use. So yeah, I think Natalie, you might want to talk a little bit about what we have at Mailjet, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely nice seeing these things in action. So we're going to hop into a demo. I'm going to stop sharing the slides really quickly as that button. Thank you. Appreciate that. We are going to go with sorry, it took me a second to find it because it looks like a website, but it's not because it's a recorded demo. So in Mailjet, we do have a few AI tools. One is kind of new. It is our template generator. We've been talking about it in much the same way Bea just said it, where it solves that blank page problem, right? You've got writer's block, you got so much to do. It's hard to really get in that groove. So you can start with actually generating the entire template. This will do the template layout. It will also do copy filler. And you can be as light or as specific as you would like to. Now, as I was doing this, I got really specific because when I'm creating an email, there are things that like I don't love tweaking all the time. Things like, the padding. I know what I want. I know what I want from point sizes. And there's ways to save it and stuff, but sometimes it's just easier to say it. So I got really specific. This also works on very light if you want kind of ideas and generation of templates. So you don't have to be as specific as I did in here, but I entered just like my contrasting themes colors, the information about what it was, just to highlight, and how I kind of wanted the design to look, just my general vibes. Kind of like, say, explaining to an interior designer what your vision for your house would be before they execute it is a great way of looking at that. I can't tell you how many times I recorded this demo trying to get rid of all my typos. And then I was like, you know what? We're all human. It's like the second someone's going to be watching you, you can't type anymore. So I anticipated needing a little bit more time. So I'm going to hop ahead here. So as you can see, it generated the template and it kind of gives me the overall look of that. We also have this option to do switching your color palette. So if you don't like the colors it gave you specifically, you can kind of shift that around. I'm gonna hop ahead again. Sorry, I hope I'm not giving anyone whiplash on that. Yeah, motion sickness. It pops in there so you have the general layout. So you can start going really quickly. And as you can see, I, in my description, gave it like certain margins and I executed that. And then I can kind of change around positioning or anything I want. So it was really light lifting. And then I can also kind of edit just different aspects of like, okay, maybe that didn't work with that column. So it reduces that manual work that you have in them. And then you can quickly replace the picture elements that you have in there. So we have that image gallery, all of your assets are there. You can easily do it. and plopping your pictures. I'm a pictures first, copy second kind of person when I have that layout. So I did that first. And then you can go in there and adjust the language that it put in, right? As we know, AI isn't always great at sounding human. So you can go in there and kind of update it. You can also use our AI copy generator if you want kind of a different understanding of it. And with this, it's really easy to get that ready to preview and ready to send. So all in all, and this wasn't like the final one, but all in all, I made a pretty good looking email in 20 minutes. I will say, like, I don't actually have a brand, so I didn't specify the copy as much, but it was a really great kickstart for all of that. So it's a great feature available for us. And again, that's AI built right into your template, so you can get really specific or light. And it really helps with understanding like accessibility and those kind of things, which we'll talk about a little bit in the future. But again, it solves that blank page problem for us, which I run into all of the time. As a product manager, I'm hopping around when I'm creating content and having to dive into that. I think it's a great assistant.
Yeah. Talk about productivity.
Oh my gosh,
I think
yes.
it's really cool. I was going to say, I send emails on behalf of a nonprofit, and I'm really not an email marketer. I've been using the same template for 2 years already. I might start, changing the template up a bit now. So yeah, that looks really cool.
Yeah, a quick, cute little plug is we also introduced brand kits. So you can apply by just putting in your website your brand colors without having to select them or describe them really quickly. So you can kind of describe what you want it to look like, apply your brand to it, and it'll generate the template for you.
Just making everything easier for us,
We're all busy.
Email marketers.
We're all so busy. Might as well make it easier.
Right. Okay, so earlier we kind of talked about some greener, more sustainable options, but you're like, what does that even mean? How can email even have a carbon footprint? This is kind of confusing. But Bea, can you walk us through this, please?
Yeah, I think for a long time, especially, boomers, but also us millennials have gone through the world thinking that anything that happens on the internet is free, and has absolutely no impact on the world. And recently, what we've been learning is that, everything we do online also has a carbon footprint. But what does carbon footprint mean really? It's how we define the total amount of energy consumption and the carbon dioxide that just gets generated by that energy consumption in any of the activities that we do within the internet. And so sending an email has a carbon footprint. When you send an email, you're uploading data into a system that holds it in a data storage. You also have images, you have the connections between two servers that are hosted somewhere and that need to be kept going and refrigerated. So all of that uses energy. And so what we've achieved over the last few years is to kind of drill that down all the way to the individual email level, where we're able to sort of estimate the carbon footprint of an email depending on its size. So you've got there a little bit of an overview on what that means. But what does this mean for us as senders? Okay, for us as senders, if we're environmentally conscious, it means that we start getting worried about what we're doing with our emails. And instead of blasting 1,000 emails to 1,000 people that might not even be engaged, we start thinking about how to get smarter about this. So obviously, getting smarter means probably reducing the amount of emails you're sending, or just getting better at targeting those emails to the right people. But it's also getting smarter about data storage. And I know, Natalie, you can probably tell us a little bit about what that data storage looks like, the retention of that, because I know that you guys know it better on the product side, and explain, what all those images that when I write those emails on behalf of my nonprofit and upload 1,000 images and never delete them, what I'm actually doing.
Yeah, I mean, images as well as, contacts and just templates, everything really has an impact on data. I mean, I will say when we looked at contacts, I mean, we had billions of records the last time, right? So a company like us will store all of your contacts and all of your images and all of the accounts and all of that information. So when you're not cleaning that up and it's inactive, it's great to look at. But companies also, especially Mailjet, has data retention. So we do look at things such as, like, think about campaign stats, right? All those clicks. A year later, you don't need them. So we've implemented data retention policies into each one of our plans that escalate based on the different data. So a lot of them are set at 400, some of them are set at 90. And this really helps us reduce the amount of data, just raw data we're storing that is no longer active. As we move forward, we're also looking at things like images and identifying if they're used, last time they were used, so that we can really prompt that user to let them know, like, hey, like, maybe we shouldn't be holding on to this forever. I think it's just one of those mindless tasks that's great to take a look at. Like, am I storing too many images? Is this really needed? Should I go through and clean it up, select all, delete, search kind of things, so we can really be conscious of what data. It's just a great reminder that the cloud is not actually a cloud. It is somebody else's computer. And ensuring your data, like, footprint is cleaned up helps all of us do the job.
Yeah, and I think that's a very good point. And there's also a comment on the chat saying that using AI is, the opposite of greener, more sustainable emails. I would challenge that and say it depends on how you're using it. If you're uploading 1,000 images while you're testing and never deleting them, instead of asking, AI to recommend a good image to illustrate something, not to generate it, but just an idea, I think it really depends on the more work you give to the internet, the more energy consumption you're going through and the more carbon footprint. So it gets a little bit more granular than just that, but it is true. AI consumes a lot of energy and has a big carbon footprint. So it's something to be aware of. Balancing kind of that in between, being productive, staying, on with the changes in the world, with kind of making sure that we don't destroy this planet is a tough act. And I think it's challenging. There are some initiatives though, so I would say as senders, there's like looking at your own internal kind of sending practices. But, there's obviously asking your providers to do better and to have some of this retention policies in place. And then there's other initiatives. There's one that's really interesting that we talked about in the past at Mailjet, which is the Zero Carbon Email Initiative. It's a community initiative that actually advocates for deleting emails automatically from people's inboxes once those emails are no longer relevant. So think about, for example, a Black Friday offer, right? After Black Friday 2024, how long is that email relevant for? Let's say let's give it a couple months, just in case someone's looking for, I don't know, your address or something. But then all those emails pile up, and there's storage that comes with that, and there's energy consumption that comes with that, and the carbon footprint. So the Zero Carbon Initiative, and I'll send a link through on the chat with, that kind of, it's the actual official website for the Zero Carbon Email Initiative, advocates for introducing, like, adding a header to your email so they automatically delete once they're no longer relevant. Yes, it is more challenging. Obviously, it requires some technical knowledge, but I do think it's a good, interesting way of thinking about this if you've got like the ability to introduce this technical expertise. At Mailjet, I think we've been supporting this for a few years now, so that's why we know about this and push for that. But yeah, that's I think there's more consciousness, and we can, it's been proved by the fact that someone contested us by saying AI is less sustainable. So we are all much more conscious about this, and we think this is going to become a larger trend, in 2025.
Yeah, and it's definitely one of those things that, like, if we want to take action, we can. Like, I know I have an auto delete set on my email inbox just so it doesn't get messy, but there's little things that we can do as well to help if it's something that we're, we want to take action on ourselves.
Exactly. Love it. Okay. We're going to move on to accessibility after sustainability. So, Bea, can you tell us a little bit more about what accessibility means, and then more about why it's trending and why this is so important this year?
Yes,
More than ever.
more than ever. We've been talking about accessibility for a while, I think, in the email community, but it's just like within that email community, there's been advocates, trying to educate all of us around email accessibility. And we haven't seen it pick up as we would have liked. Accessibility and accessible emailing basically means building emails that can be consumed by everyone, regardless of whether they're visually impaired, have disabilities, etc. So make, for example, emails readable on screen readers. Make the color contrast good enough for people that might not have the best visibility to actually be able to pick up the key messages, font size, stuff like that. And we're not just thinking disabilities, just think about my grandma really struggles to read stuff that's very small, so stuff like that. And so the Email Marketing Consumption, which is an organization that actually advocates for email accessibility, tested emails in 2024, and 99% of the emails that they tested had critical or serious issues when it comes to accessibility. And most of them were not issues that are, that require a lot of technical expertise to solve. It's just kind of basic education. So we think a lot of it comes down to a lack of awareness. Like, people don't know how to create truly accessible emails. And the majority of us, it's not, that much work to do it. So I have seen that the majority of us, if we knew how to, we would do that. So this year is the year where we are going to actually need to get it together, because we've got the European Accessibility Act coming up on June 28th, which basically states that all digital products and services need to be accessible to all, and that includes emails. And so that means that we're going to need to take this seriously and start testing this. So how can we start implementing some of these best practices to get accessible emails? We've got stuff like structured email templates, where we use, if you're on the HTML side, we use headings like, tags like H1, H2, body, copy, stuff like that, which if you do with Mailjet, I think, Natalie, this is something we automatically do on the email editor, right?
Sorry, I was just about to cough right as you asked. Yeah, there's different structures and templates, as well as the email previews to check it afterwards. So there's a lot of tools to help you with that.
So, and then there's stuff like, just prioritize dark mode. For example, there's a lot of people that might have dark mode by default. So just making sure that that's considered when you're building your emails, or just prioritizing that color contrast, as we talked about. Some of those basic things, just make your font big enough. And we've got good training that we can share on the topic to help you guys out. And I'm going to share a link. But basically, just think through, if it's too small to click on when you receive it on your mobile phone, that's probably not accessible. So yeah, I think, our very own Megan did a great Notes from the Death webinar series on this. So I'm going to share the link to that. And you can always use Email on Acid to test those emails for accessibility.
And Email on Acid has the previews directly into Mailjet, and we will continue to drink our own champagne.
Yes.
There's a question. Sorry.
No, keep going.
No, I was going to say that there's a question that says, what will happen if our emails don't meet the Accessibility Act? That's a great question. We don't know yet what the implications of non-compliance will be, but we know the European Union and how they treat their acts. They're no joke. So I would prioritize this year.
Yeah, it releases in June, and I think there's some leeway built in that we can, I don't know if we have a link available, but there is information on that if you want to take a quick peek. We're starting to dig into that on Mailjet itself. So.
Perfect. I was just going to say, we do have resources for coding in dark mode as well, I believe. So
yes, we do.
Maybe one of our support has that link already, and I'm over speaking for them, but I will try to find it as well. Okay, Natalie, you ready to move into deliverability?
I sure am. This is my favorite topic. Okay, so, yeah, we started last year with the authentication requirement changes for Yahoo and Google. What do we need to be aware of in 2025 that will impact deliverability?
Yeah, great question. I think we talked last year about, the Google and Yahoo changes being, the revolution in email deliverability. And I'd say this year we would talk more about an evolution. So last year we had things like, email authentication was enforced. Email authentication is, the settings that we put in place, or the protocols that we put in place so that the mailbox providers can check the authenticity of emails when they come through. So the most popular ones and the ones that everyone was using were SPF and DKIM. And then there's a really important one, DMARC, which had lower adoption, and you can see the adoption rate, on there. It had lower adoption before, and these Gmail and Yahoo changes push people to adopt some form of DMARC authentication. And so there are like 3 stages of DMARC authentication. One that says, if an email is not authenticated, don't do anything, which means, why am I putting this in place if it's not doing anything? At least it's the basis of saying we've actually put it in place. We've got some form of authentication. But ideally, what we want to see and what we expect in 2025 is a lot of that adoption moving towards the 2 higher levels of authentication with DMARC, which are quarantine and reject. Basically, with DMARC authentication in quarantine level, let's call it that way. If an email comes in and it's not authenticated, it gets quarantined. If an email comes in and it's not authenticated and your email authentication is set to reject, it's completely blocked and doesn't come in. So that means you're protecting, obviously, your email domain from being spoofed, from being used for phishing, stuff like that. So we expect to see, and we've heard from Google and Yahoo, right? We've heard from them saying, listen, we're asking you to adopt DMARC at P none to get you to do something with DMARC, but the end goal is to move everyone to P reject. So that's going to be a big one. With DMARC on P quarantine or P reject without those 2 higher levels, what you also get is the ability to introduce another layer of authentication called BIMI, which is not necessarily authentication per se, but it allows you to add a logo to your emails. So you might have seen it in your inbox that certain brands show up with their little logo on the inbox and certain ones do not. The ones that do, it's because they've got BIMI enabled, and obviously that increases trust with the recipient because you know who's emailing you. So that's one of the parts of like this evolution where we expect to see more proactivity from people. The other side of it is an increased focus on domain reputation as opposed to IP reputation. So basically with IP reputation, what you get is you get your reputation and your ability to land in the inbox linked to an IP, which might be shared with other people. And so if they're doing wrong and if they're not following best practices, you could get impacted. Now we've seen mailbox providers move away from that and focus more on domain reputation to really drill down on the practices of that individual sender and really understand, are they following on those best practices, so they don't get impacted if someone else is doing the wrongdoing. That means, making sure we saw it with the Yahoo changes. That means making sure that we are keeping spam rates under control, adding that unsubscribe link. So really focusing on engagement. Do really people like our emails? Do they want to receive it? If they do not, and you keep on emailing them, you're probably sort of spamishy. I don't want to call people spammers, but engagement is where it's going, and that's measured by the domain reputation.
I think the move to domain reputation is going to be an awesome one.
I actually want to say that we are working on a deliverability report with insights from senders just like you. Some of you maybe responded to our survey that will come to Mailjet, I think probably towards the beginning of March, with a lot of insights on, how are people navigating these changes? How are people managing their deliverability as a whole? Do people know what deliverability actually mean? Stuff like that. So I would watch out for that because it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I've read it already. So
very exciting.
Wonderful.
So much deliverability. Okay. Natalie, this is my favorite topic.
Deliverability?
No, the next one.
Oh, I was like, mine too, girl. Mine too. Okay. Okay, so deliverability, obviously a key focus, and engagement is critical to that part. So once an email's in the inbox, it's past the DMARC qualifications and hasn't been reacted. How does bot activity impact us?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And, a couple years ago, I remember when Apple Mail introduced its privacy policy, everyone started kind of questioning open rates, because basically what it did was it automatically opened all emails, hiding who had actually opened the emails. So basically, instead of not telling you whether someone had opened it or not, it told you that they had opened it, effectively rendering open rates for Apple Mail completely useless. So we started telling people to move away from that and focus more on other types of metrics like click-through rates and stuff like that. And now, in 2025, we have all these security software from, especially, if you're sending B2B emails from companies like ours, that are implemented to make sure that, all emails are checked and are safe before they go into users' inbox. And how is that done? They have bots that just click on it. So it means that, all your click-through rate might not, be actually very accurate if that's the case. So initially we had this challenge with, how do we exclude those bots so that we can effectively know what's working or what isn't working? And there was some, I think, manual strategies at first that I think were pretty cool. I know, Julia, you and Megan implemented one of those, which was actually what we called a bot trap, which is hiding a link inside an email, so it's completely invisible, and humans will not click on it because it's completely invisible. But if you see that emails, have clicked on that, like users have clicked on that, you can assume it's bots, so you can exclude that activity. But the good, the good news for senders is that we do not need to go as crazy as that, because the majority of ESPs right now are developing tools to be able to isolate bot activity within their dashboards and metrics. So it just makes it easier. So what I mean to say with this is we should know that this happens, and we should know how to read this within our stats. So I think, Natalie, you might be able to show actually how this looks in the Mailjet dashboard so that people know how to navigate that.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to give you quite a sneak peek of something that's hitting production tomorrow. Let me...
VIP access to new feature. So exciting.
Julia, help me out and get rid of that slide deck. I don't know where they are.
Say it again. I'm sorry. Get rid of the slide deck. Sorry.
Yeah. Me and PowerPoint, we've never felt great together. Okay, so this is being released into Mailjet tomorrow. So again, sneak peek access. But as we mentioned, those bot activities can really impact our campaign engagement, so that we don't really understand, what engagement is humans versus what isn't. So on contact engagement, now in Mailjet, you will be able to specifically see, sorry, I stopped looking at it. Let me go right there. Okay, so you'll be able to specifically see right here where your contact engagement is. And it stopped playing. I'm struggling, you guys. I apologize. There we go. So up here, you'll be able to see your contact engagement, and this will only represent humans. And then down here, you'll have your total bots removed as well as your total opens removed. So you'll still be able to understand that. However, your contact engagement will only be true human engagement. And we're tracking this through a few different ways. Some is time, some is IP, some is hidden clicks. And we've got to develop an algorithm so that we are pretty confident when we remove something, so that we're not artificially decreasing your contact your engagement when it needs to be decreased, when it doesn't need to be decreased. So we are continuously evolving this algorithm, and you'll start to see those results directly in the Mailjet dashboard. And these tools can, again, be very helpful because contact engagement drives in deliverability. Like, the more engagement you have of real humans, the more you're going to have strong deliverability, because that's what matters. People are getting emails that matter. So understanding your true audience engagement is what matters. And bot opens and bot clicks are very, very common and inflate statistics on all campaigns.
I think they're becoming more and more common, as companies start to realize that they need to protect, their own internal data. So
yeah, and when we say bot, just keep in mind those are all those automatic programs that scan for protection. So it even happens on Gmails and stuff like that. And so it really impacts your engagement regardless of who you're sending to. Okay.
cool. Well, excited to see that. You said tomorrow?
Yep, it releases tomorrow.
Nice. I'll make sure I plan my nonprofit email, just after it releases so that I can use it.
Perfect.
Those pesky bots. Okay, we just want to do a quick little poll if we could. We're going to post it up. Thanks, Thomas, or Natalie, whoever hit that. So what do you think that will have the biggest impact on email marketing in 2025? You can go to the polls tab on the left-hand side and choose your preference. We're going to leave that up, but we're going to keep things moving. Going to go to our last trend that we think is happening. So they walk us through omnichannel. I get this question a lot. We've gotten this question a lot in Email Academy. So people are people want to know what's happening.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And I think, we are all consumers. In the end, we all know that we've increased the number of channels through which we, interact with brands. And we see it right here in Europe. WhatsApp is really big. For example, there's a ton of companies sending you WhatsApp messages. SMS, is also obviously really big. It has the largest penetration in the world. Email still leads the pack, but it's no longer a siloed channel. And we need to make sure that we're integrating all of these channels together. And when we mean integrating these channels, it doesn't mean like have a tool to conquer them all. It means strategically just understanding what are we doing with all these channels so that they can all work together. And we've seen a lot of movement on this front in 2024. We've seen great stuff happening, and I think it's really going to pick up in 2025. We really think it's going to pick up. So we actually asked consumers around Black Friday, how do you want to hear from brands? And we gave them a choice of channels. And, nearly 80% of those consumers said they want to hear through more than one channel. So they selected more than one channel for receiving some of those brand communications. And it was even higher when we talked about transactional notifications. So like a purchase received and stuff like that. So what do we need to do as senders if we're using more than one channel? Obviously, is thinking about how they complement each other and making sure that it's not siloed. I sent my emails. I don't talk to the person that is doing XYZ. And if we're not doing other channels, it is our time now to start and experiment with some of these. So our recommendation is if you're doing email, obviously you're here. We assume the majority of you are doing email. The next, I think, best choice is probably SMS. Email and SMS complement each other really well. And we were talking about Black Friday. I think it's a great example, right? Around Black Friday, there's so much stuff happening, so many emails in the inbox. You can use, for example, emails in the lead up to the big day to communicate your offers, to actually get those deals in front of people, to make sure they really know the value. You tease the products, you use kind of those great visuals. But then on the day where everyone else is sending all of those emails and it's just super cluttered, go with an SMS. Shoot them an SMS, remind them about that deal happening that you had already talked to them about. Maybe you just want to send the SMS to the people that have opened the email and make it even better. They've seen your email and your deal. Send them an SMS to push them to take action. That way you cut through the noise. There's strategies like that, or just like, you send out an email for registration for whatever, for this webinar, for example. And we see that there's a lot of people that have clicked through, but not necessarily registered, or that have, opened the email and checked it out. We might want to send an SMS. We're not, because we're not asking for your phone data, but it is a good use case. If you do have phone data, you see someone checking your website and you've requested that, and they've obviously, most importantly, opted in. They need to have opted into all the channels. Having opted into email doesn't mean that they've opted for SMS, but if they have, leverage both together. I think it's a very good strategic move, and it's one that we need to embrace now. Because if not, we're just gonna, fall behind and just try and catch up. Natalie is really excited about what I just said.
There is coughing. I don't know why.
I'm sorry, I had to put you on the spot since I've been coughing throughout the whole webinar and trying to get people not to notice.
I haven't noticed, so it's perfect. I know I'm excited about SMS and RCS and how it expands, especially as we're a part of the Sense universe and have a lot of tools.
Yeah. A whole new world,
Disney songs,
Okay.
what you do to me.
Bea, thank you so much for sharing all of your knowledge today. This has been really great. I think everyone has been asking for these trends. At our Q&A webinar, the last one we did in 2024, everyone wanted to know the trends, but we knew this webinar was coming, so we didn't want to go too far into it. So with that, I just wanted to say thanks again for joining us.
Yeah,
it was great. I'll just tease that we have a great blog post that goes over these in detail if I speak too fast and you want to kind of read through them in a bit more detail. So I'm sure that will be part of any follow-up, right, Julia? Yes, some promotion for my content. There you go. Great.
Also, make sure you subscribe to the blog email updates so that you know when new content is posted. It is on our blog page.
That is true. I'll link to the blog page.
Okay.
Which is a very surprising URL. Oh, I think I might have posted it on the wrong side. I'll do it again. It's mailjet.com/blog. Okay.
Thank you for promoting our blog when those are my newsletters. So y'all are getting me more subscribers. Okay, Thomas, are you joining us back or should we dive into Q&A?
Yeah, I think we are going to let Bea go as well now and invite Thomas back, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was reading through the questions to see if there was anyone that was a bit more high level for me, but it seems like you guys have a lot of questions that you can dive into, and I have got to run. So yeah, I appreciate you having me, and have a lot of fun with the Q&A, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Bea.
See you, Bea. All right, real quick, everyone. Let's take I wanted to take a look at that poll again one more time since we left it up for a little while. Let's take a look at that, shall we? Pull that back up. All right, what was everyone looking at? Okay.
Wow, very cool. The poll's still up if you want to vote. I think it's on the right side. I think I said left earlier. It's on the right side for y'all. Yeah, this is great.
It's somewhere.
It's somewhere. Yeah, we're getting more votes. Yeah. Natalie, what's your opinion?
I mean, girl, you know me. I'm AI. I love AI. I mean, I think people are, I think we need to remember to not 100% trust it. We need to realize that it's artificial, right? It's not real intelligence, it's artificial intelligence. But I think my productivity and the quality of my output of everything I do has been dramatically improved. And when the AI platform that I utilize goes down, I just take a break because I don't think I can do without it anymore. I'm an early and huge adopter of it. So yeah, I think it'll really be a big trend in so many areas, not just email marketing in our lives, on how we improve efficiencies and reduce the tasks that no one wants to do. I personally want AI to do my laundry in 2025. That is my goal.
I think that's where we need to go.
I want a color while it does my laundry. That's New Year's resolution for me.
Get AI to do my laundry. Empty the dishwasher.
Do my cat's litter box. That'd be nice.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, great.
All right, let me go and pull that poll down and let's take a look at some of these questions, shall we? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, last call for questions, by the way, and please upvote the ones that you want the answer the most. So let's take a look at the ones that are most upvoted.
There's still time to upvote, right?
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
Ooh, I like that first one. By Kate.
That one from Kate. Yeah, so Kate was asking, does AI summaries, excuse me, do AI summaries mean that multi-topic newsletters are dead, especially thinking for charity supporter emails?
I'm going to say no. I'm going
I'm
to say
gonna say
no.
no too.
I was specifically looking at this last night because the new version of my phone has summaries for like everything. AI is really good at pulling out main points. So if you have multi topics in there, it will pull those out, extract them, which I think can be really good because I don't know, sometimes I get emails that maybe have multi topics and I might graze over the one I actually was interested in. So I think that will actually be helpful in that regard. Those summaries that can pull me in based on that one piece of content that maybe I didn't know about before.
Yeah, absolutely. It could also I think I worry about people not scrolling down to the bottom of my email when I have multiple topics, because sometimes you got a lot to say. But yeah, that could definitely be helpful. So I don't think it's the death of it.
Got it. Okay. Let's see. Taking a look at some of these upvotes. Let's see.
While you're looking, I just want to reiterate that we are creating a blog post that will cover a lot of the topics we talked about today, and the recording for this webinar will be available later today. So just refresh the page. What time is it? Like a half an hour, I think it takes. And then, but we'll also send you links and everything tomorrow with the recording as well. So
yep,
you'll get tons of content.
Also find it at our Mailjet YouTube page.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Going through these upvotes again. Tackling the recent Gmail algorithm change in terms of promo tab placement. Oh, the always pesky promo tab placement for Gmail.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious.
That's a good one. We do have content on the promo tab placement. Natalie, any notes on that though?
I mean, this comes down to engagement and deliverability practices. So if you're really struggling to get out of that promo tab, I think first step, I'm a broken record with this, always make sure your domain's authenticated, start looking into DMARC, really start looking into those things that will increase your deliverability, review your engagement, because the more engagement you have, the more likely you can get out of the inbox or out of the promo box. I mean, that's a ever changing and challenging one, as Gmail is ever evolving those things.
Yeah.
But that is the basic foundation that you always have to lay in place before tackling anything else.
And it's not the spam box, thankfully. I remember Nick Schaefer always telling us, he's like, hey, yeah, don't forget, the promos tab is the inbox. It's it's just over there.
It's a different spot. And you have to keep in mind, not everyone has the promotions tab enabled. I don't.
Exactly.
I like everything in one tab. I like everything in one inbox. Yeah.
Same.
I have it enabled because sometimes I just want to shop and don't want to deal with reality. So I go to my promo
That's valid.
just shop.
That's valid.
So I would say even if you land in the promo tab, they just introduced a new one too that's like updates and like the business stuff goes over there. I guess I assume I don't look at it because if it's serious, again, leave me alone. So
they're so busy at Google all the time. They just want to make it just always changing.
So busy, always. All right, let me go and stop sharing that one. There was one in here that I just saw that I loved. Let me see if I can pull it back up here. It was actually coming from Danielle. She was saying, how much would I expect that implementing BIMI would impact deliverability or engagement? Let me see if I can pull that one up from Danielle.
Well, you pull it up. I'm going to answer. Someone asked me where I got my chair because it looks comfortable. TikTok Shop. It is a heated, and it has back massage in it. It's amazing. Julia, I'm going to give this to you. I actually don't know a ton about this.
I think like Bea said, I think it definitely will have an impact on engagement because you'll be more recognizable. Like if you use your logo or an image. So if people are, looking at the inbox, they're going to see your logo, with your sender name and say, oh, I know that brand. You're going to become more recognizable, which engagement and becoming recognizable has more impact on deliverability. The more engagement you have, the more your deliverability score goes up. Deliverability score, it becomes healthier. So I think it definitely would help. Is it as, I don't know if is it as necessary as like DCOM, DMARC, SPF? No.
Foundations first.
Get those first, and then I would do BIMI. Yeah.
Fundamentals and blocks to fun.
And constantly, like I get to work with the BIMI group a lot, specifically Matt Vernout. So shout out to Matt Vernout. But they're always encouraging that extra authentication. So they're always always pushing that to have that extra logo icon on there, because like Julie was just saying, it's always nice to know, okay, this is officially from Target, Chase Bank, whoever in the world you're buying from.
Right.
But yeah, love that extra authentication.
Yeah, I made a note. I just sent someone a message. Was like, remind me to get support documentation up in Mailjet on how to do this, because that's not something we have. So we'll get that up for y'all.
And also check out BIMI Group. If you Google just BIMI Group, it should be the first one on there. Great group of people that are advocating for BIMI, and we love working with them. So, all right. So
someone just asked for a BIMI provider, so that's the answer to that question.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Danielle, for that one. Let's see here. Julia, anything you've seen here? I'll let you pick one.
Someone asked, hold on one second. I just want to share this one. What is a bot trap? Possible to have an example. So a bot trap, just to clarify, it's not that you have bots subscribing to your list. It's not like, some robots out there and it's like a spammy thing. A bot trap is when a company has security in between your email and delivering to their company's inboxes. We definitely have this here at our company. It's just to make sure. So the bot trap is going to click through your email and open your email before it delivers to the recipient's inbox, to make sure that you're a legitimate sender and to make sure that nothing is going to harm the recipient and like give them a virus, give them, hack their data, whatever. It's just to make the recipient's inbox more secure. But because of that, it's clicking your email, so it's showing in your stats as an actual click.
And open.
And open. Yes.
Yeah. Someone asked how to add a bot trap. If you're not using, or if you're using an email editor, the easiest way to do it is just to throw, if your provider doesn't have it, throw a really small invisible link in there so that a real user wouldn't intentionally click on it. And that way you can kind of measure that out based on that one. If you're doing it in HTML, you can do the same thing. It's a little bit easier in HTML if your ESP doesn't have that specifically built in.
Yeah. And it still doesn't necessarily mean that you want to remove those people from your lists.
No.
Because they could actually be then clicking and engaging with your email after it delivers to their inbox. So you just I just want to specify that too. Like, it's not that you want to suppress those people from your list. It's just to keep in mind that, everyone wants a 75% open rate or a 75% click rate, but like and the bots will help you get that, but it might not be in actuality what you're getting.
Yeah.
So it's just
about true authentic audience engagement. So don't remove them from the list if they have bot clicks, because that means you'll remove me from your list, and I don't want that.
I know, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Looks like we got time for one more. Natalie, you picked this last one. Let's see.
Oh gosh. There's so many. The slides will be shared, or the recording will be shared, not the specific slides.
Yes, they will. Recording, I mean.
Will you answer the Q&A? Yes, we will. I don't know. This is style high pressure.
Let me see.
Oh, I see one about ChatGPT. Do you want to
answer that one?
Here, wait. Do this one.
Is there a way to influence ASMRs just to ensure you have it? Yeah, I mean, I would say this is a great use of like the AI tools. Like, take your message, throw it into GPT and say, can you give me what, I would say always give it a profile. And for those of you who don't know, on GPT, you can set custom settings. So like mine says, as a product manager of an email marketing platform, right? So it knows the perspective. But so like throw in your audience and tell it like, hey, as this audience or a consumer of this or a subscriber to that, give me the concise overview that you would take away from this. That's going to tell you how AI is analyzing. And honestly, there's a lot of free versions out there. Throw into a few, right? If you really want to get concise on that, to figure out what the fundamentals are of your message. And if it's not giving you back what you expect, tweak your messaging. And I think that's a great way to influence those AI summaries. And every person or every company that is really introducing them in the inbox typically has a free model of their actual AI. So there's fun ways to play with that. And as does evolve, I'm sure us ESPs will start evolving with them to figure out how we show you that in app, right? And I don't work on the email editor specifically, so this will be a topic for that. But like, it might be something you start seeing at ESPs as well, showing you like, hey, based on AI, this is that summary. But utilize it. I do it a lot for internal writing or external, where I'm like, hey, like I'm going to say this as this person. What would you take away from it? Or give it a tone. So it's really a great sounding board. That's in general.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, that is all the time we have today. So most importantly, I want to thank Bea for stopping by earlier. She had to leave, but we want to thank her for bringing her insights and amazing takeaways as always. And your trusty leaders of Email Academy, Natalie Lynch and Julia. Thank you both for being here today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anything you want to leave our viewers with before we head out?
Yeah, I would say if anyone wants to connect or has further questions about Mailjet or the topics, feel free to reach out. Natalie Lynch on LinkedIn. My link to my LinkedIn is in my bio. There was a lot of links, and I'm really excited that you all joined us here today.
Ditto. You can email me at community@mailjet.com or julia.ritter@cinch.com. I'm more responsive there than LinkedIn. It's on brand, I guess. And just like a little promo, we also are going to do a Q&A webinar, and that will come up this quarter. I think Laura, sorry, Laura. It will, so you can send us your questions and then we'll answer them during a dedicated Q&A webinar. So we'll send you more info about that.
Yeah.
Thank you all for
next time.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we'll see you down the line. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you later. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.